How's it going, everybody? Welcome to the channel. This is Big Daddy Dave, and this is the Top 5 Maps by Continent series. This is the sixth and final of the series for the unspecified continents. And why did I want to go and make this series? Well, I wanted to make this series because I wanted to recognize those maps that did not make the cut of the top 10. And I figured that this would be the best way to go about doing things to be able to thin down the pool of availability, because right now we have over 160 maps available to us for all platforms on the Mod Hub. And because of that, that leaves 160 contenders for the top 10 spots. Rather than being able to now focus on everything by continent, I can then limit the pools available and shuffle around the maps in such a way that can take some maps out of the running to then now place them, place the ones that were further down the line into the contention of the top 5. So far, what I ended up doing to determine where each map belongs is I looked at the Mod Hub and specifically at all the maps where they were available for all consoles. And looking at the description, I tried to determine if it explicitly or was implied for a specific region, state, country, whatever the case may be, to try and then to say it belongs in this continent. If I was not able to use the description, I then went through the photos that were available. And based on the photos, if I could see a flag, a state, like any kind of clear indication that, you know, it's intended for this region, then it got categorized using that. If I was unable to use either one of those methods to determine where the map was supposed to be, I then said, okay, move them into an unspecified category, which is this video that I'm making now. These are all the ones that I could not determine where they belong. Now, it's possible that some of the maps, based on their names or whatever, they could be in a foreign language, and that could indicate, you know, where they're supposed to be, but I didn't want to necessarily use that as kind of the determining factor. And because there are areas of this world where the language that is spoken and written is in such a way that it could be, like Portuguese is a perfect example, because Portuguese is spoken all throughout Brazil in South America, but it's also spoken in Portugal, which is clear across the other side of the world. So it's one of those kind of things. I didn't want that to be kind of the determining factor in map names or anything like that. I either wanted it to be specific to, you know, somebody explicitly saying it's in the description of the Mod Hub, or that it was, you know, based on, you know, a clear indication like a flag or some kind of, you know, something that was more concrete and less flexible to determine how things are. So all that being said, let's start out with number 5 of the unspecified list, and it is New Minibrunn. And this is what New Minibrunn looks like. It is a smallish map to where there's this, how do I want to say this? This map is small, yes, but it is greater than the sum of its parts. And what I mean by that is that it's got beauty in its landscape. It's got a great color palette. It's not too, you know, out there in the realm of too colorful to where it's just, it to me looks like it's a little set of villages just nestled between the mountains. Like, it's just absolutely gorgeous. And let's go ahead and start out here at the starting farm, and you can see, look at that mountain ridge, the whole landscape. That's really breathtaking. That's very much like just the start of things. The background image is used very well. You got a bunch of balloons, some flying planes overhead. The farm here to start is very small. It's like not a lot of room to start out with, but you've got a fair bit of stuff to work with. You got a cow barn, you've got a greenhouse, you got the repair center, you got some storage, a fair bit of storage, you got some product to work with right off the bat. You got a little chicken coop over here, and that's pretty much it for the starting farm. But then you kind of leave this starting farm and you're right in the middle of town. Like, your farm is right here in the middle of everything. And you can kind of walk through, and just this town is so picturesque, so pretty looking. You know, you can see the church there in the background, right in the edge of town. Just there's so much going on, and it just feels alive. This area here, you got people walking past your farm all the time. Just look how gorgeous the cool little cobblestone sidewalk here with the asphalt drive. It's just a very, very pretty. You got the wind turbines there in the background. Just very, very lovely. Very, very nice. And what's really cool about this map is just the terrain, the undulations that are available. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the map, and I'm going to go to the very northern part of the map. And I can come up here. Let's go away from all the noise right here. And now let's go into this kind of sky view, and you can see, look how much elevation there is, the elevation difference. And what really kind of drove me to love this map and really kind of just fall in love with it, really, is the road network. It sounds silly, but there's just this road network of these kind of elevated bridge-like areas here, where it's just kind of built into the mountainside, and it's just twisting, turning. It just leaves so much to the imagination. Got a cool little area right here, a little placeable area that you kind of have to work at to be able to use. But then going back to the road network, you got this kind of switchback, kind of twisty mountain road that leads down in this area. Over here is another small town, small portion of the village, and a lot's going on over here all by itself. You know, you got production points, sell points, all the whole 9 yards going on over here. But then you lead to the outskirts right here, and now you got a true switchback road that you're coming winding back to and from, back and forth, until you get to about here, where you can dump out to the main road, or continuing to take it up to this field right at the very top of the map. It's just the driving skills that you're going to have is actually pretty significant, because the roads are relatively narrow, but again, these bridges are just so cool, how they're just built into the countryside, into the landscape. How they're used is so nice. But you keep on looking around. All the fields are kind of odd shaped, but they've got enough runway to where it will allow you to kind of just go and use them, kind of thing. They're enclosed, and some of them are enclosed with fencing. Like it's fantastic a map. You've got different ways that you can go about this. You got little dirt roads, little side paths. You got this huge like mountainside here that just absolutely love it. You got the kind of bridge network that leads you off in this direction. This little dirt paths to go to separate fields along the way. You got a little grape vineyard right here in the south. But again, it's just all the different elevations, all the different locations that are available. Like if I go down to the grape processing unit and come back out into the town right here, like this little village on this side of the map looks completely different from the one that you spawn from. You know, that your starting farm is. It's got a little concrete path instead of the little brick pavers. You know, same asphalt road, but you actually feel like you're in a different part of the map. It's just very, very cool. And again, you got the kind of elevated town side there, and it looks like it just continues on into the mountains kind of thing. Like they do an amazing job on making this map kind of look like it belongs in the mountains, not like some maps I know that are out there that where the mountains are there but it just looks very out of place kind of thing, because you got a very flat map and then all of a sudden mountains in the background. It's just very unsettling. But this one does a great job in utilizing those mountain range backgrounds to have like this playable area that we have. And you got the cool little bridge. I think this is the Erlingrat background that's being used. I could be wrong about that, but regardless whether I'm right or wrong about that, just an amazing job, an amazing map. You know, come check it out, because this is a good one, and this one is only number 5. There's 4 more that I feel are slightly better than this map. Oh, and that's the other thing too I wanted to show. Over here, there's a water feature, and this water feature is so cool. It's like a little park area, kind of, but you got little duckies just swimming around the lake here, going around. But look how pretty that that water feature is. You got a little island right in the middle of it, a cool little watchtower right in the middle. Just so nice. And this is right near your starting farm, because your starting farm's right here. The little water feature's right across the street. And you can come here and, you know, potentially back up and take some water out. Like right here is a good spot for you to be able to back a trailer into and get some water out of it. Or you can just come here and just, you know, relax kind of thing. You know, just kind of sit back, watch the ducks, sit on the dock, you know, and just enjoy yourself. It's such a cool little map. And yeah, this is why this one's number 5. Number 4, the Western Wilds. And this is the Western Wilds. As you can see, this is the same map maker who made No Man's Land, made this, Alien Gym. And this is brilliant. Now, No Man's Land, in my opinion, is slightly better as a survival map, but this one is better in the fact that it's kind of more built up. It's still that survival-esque style, but it's got that extra layer of there being things available to do, and it almost makes it a bit more, for lack of a better word, playable, like for everybody. So No Man's Land is for the person who wants to come in and really want to struggle and, you know, put in the work and put in the effort. This one you're going to have to struggle and put in the effort and put in the work, because you don't have any starting fields, you got limited amount of equipment, and you've got, you know, limited amount of resources. You got trees, and as you can see, you only have one plot, and you only got this amount of trees that are available to you. And only some of them, I think it's these ones down here and some smattered in here as well, are the harvestable kind of trees. Like, you do have the trees that you can all the trees that you can harvest, but they're the pines that are like the meant to be harvested, the ones that turn into long giant sticks eventually, essentially. But you start out here at the northern kind of shops area, where you have your repair triggers, you got your shop trigger right over here, you got your animal dealer right behind me. But just look at this. Like, this is actually one of the few maps that's actually flat, like it's flat throughout the entire map, that I actually enjoy. Like, and it's because of the kind of dynamics that are behind the scenes. So you got a couple of buy points over here, another buy point for water, some buy points for seeds and fertilizer, a sell point here, another sell point for dairy products. And this is a part of the dynamics that I really do enjoy right here. This is the northern sawmill. And what's nice about this, because you're struggling so much for resources, all the productions are reduced price, $20,000. Normally it's a $100,000 investment, the sawmills. But because you only have $100,000 to start out with, you don't have the means to really do anything much with it. And it's just a fantastic representation of what you can do to kind of make the survival mode a little bit more tolerable to all, kind of thing. Because if you're going into a survival map where all you have is trees to work with and really nothing in the way of farming, there's some people will go out there and be like, you know what, this is way too intense for me, it's too much for me to do, I just want to be able to at times just turn off my brain, let the AI kind of chug away and do their thing. Well, with forestry you can't do that. You have to do the work, you have to put in the time, there's no way around it. But one other cool feature that's similar to the No Man's Land map, here, let me turn off that buzzing, because yeah, there are little things like this that are just parts of the map that you can turn on and off. But check this out. Just like No Man's Land, cutting this with the chainsaw will permanently remove the power lines from the map. So if you cut that, all the power lines are gone. You see right there in front of you, there are 2 more signs just directly there. One's for rocks, one's for the rocks and boulders, and that other one's for the trees. So you can turn this into a completely flat map if you so choose. It's completely up to you. It is a really, really cool map for that reason. Now let's go ahead and jump to the east side of the map here. And let's turn off another sound because it's really loud. There we go. So this is the biogas plant, where again, because you're doing a survival thing, it's only 25 grand. It's only $25,000. Very, very nice. And this thing chugs through product. It just slams through it. So it's got a big intake, so you can put in a lot of product, but it also chugs through it and produces a lot of product as well. It also produces methane that you can sell throughout the map and utilize in other areas. Like over here, you got a big bunker silo over here. But over here, you've got things that are built specific for this map, like, let's open the gate. Right here, you have gold production. So you take stones and methane, I think it's gold and methane, and for 30,000 you can buy that, and you can produce gold. And it's really slow, it takes a while, but it's still a production that's kind of cool. You have a lime station right here that you can produce lime from your stone as well. You know, you got all that. You've got down here in the south, you've got another, like a sell point, like a sawmill sell point, but then you also have a place for your gas station. So you can come here and get gas, but you can also sell your methane over here as well. So it's one of those that you can either use it or sell it. You got another water trigger over here, and then off to the west, this is probably the coolest feature out of the entire map in my opinion, is this. This is a set of sell points where you have an elevated price, and the reason that it's an elevated price is because you have to load your bales and your loose products and all that stuff right on top of the train. So this up here is the sell point, not down here. You can't trigger it down here. You have to put it up here. Same thing over here. You got another one for all your products that you can sell. So you've got, you know, like your breads and your cakes and all that stuff can go right up here. You got your grains, which goes up here, and you have to use the auger, which is provided for you right here, to be able to go ahead and do that. And then again, you got another cart right here for other products. There's a train that goes throughout this map, and it is huge. It comes down the rails. You can't get to it. It runs on this track right here, and it just goes from north to south. Very, very nice. And you got another selling point for logs right here. And again, you can turn off things. It's just that little layer of immersion that is really, really nice. But for the most part, this is a map that is built for harvesting trees. But there is one other cool feature on this map that I really enjoy, and it's collectibles. We're all used to collectibles. It's not something that's, you know, a new concept. But what's cool about it is that they're little gold nuggets, which is very appropriate for this map. And you can see one of the gold nuggets right over there. Some of them can be kind of a nuisance to get to. Whoops, if I can jump for some reason. There we go. Right there on top of that. You can actually get out to it and, you know, collect it. And they're pretty valuable. I think they're like $50,000 each. But if you want an indication as to where they can be, you come to this board right here. And this shows you the location of every single one of the collectibles. And when you collect one of them, the pins turn from a red to a green. So it actually indicates to you when you have collected everything that you need. It is so cool. Now what I'm going to do now, the starting farm, very basic, just like No Man's Land. Very basic. You got a place to live, and you got a couple of storage buildings, like right here and right here. And this is all your starting equipment. You don't have a starting field to work with. You've got this, but this is grass that if you mow, it leaves nothing behind. So you don't start with any sort of field, grass equipment, anything like that. And the only thing you have available to you are the trees. That's it. You are starting kind of behind the 8 ball is a kind of a way to say it. But now I want to go here to the truck here, and I want to go dead center of the map to show one final feature that is so cool. So once you kind of establish yourself, you get building your bank account, making some money, you can come here to the center of the map, and I'm just going to take a direct route to it. I'm not going to follow the roads. And you can buy the abandoned farm. That's right, there is an abandoned farm right here. You can see I'm approaching it here, and check it out. This is so cool. So you got this, you know, rundown, you know, boarded up house. You got a little rundown chicken barn. Look at this old silo system that's all broken down. Now if I go ahead and buy this, let's go ahead and do that just real quick. Down here. Okay, now everything is mine. I own all this. But if I come here and go into build mode, check it out. You can clear out everything, but you have to pay for it to be cleared out. So I can clear out the house there, and now I've got open land. I can clear out the chicken barn, but I gotta pay $1,000 for that. Come over here, I can clear out the manure, abandoned manure system here, and it leaves behind all this manure right here. Like, how cool is that? You also have like cattle barn right here. Not a cattle barn, but again, it leaves product behind. It leaves some straw just sitting there on the ground. You got a little, what looks to be a little horse barn right here. That gets left behind. Again, some more straw for you to pick up. You know, but again, you're paying, like, you're essentially hiring somebody to come do the work for you. But you can then utilize all this property to be able to do with it what you will. You know, and you can bring it back to its former glory, kind of thing. All this trash bags and stuff you can clear out. It's one of the decorations that is available to clear out. You know, blow out the silo here, and again, you can, you know, put things back where they were. You can kind of substitute the animal pens for ones that can fit into the location, kind of deal. Like, there's so much that you can do, and it's very, very nice to kind of be able to come through and to simulate that. And you can see now I'm negative 10 grand, you know, because I've been blowing out all this stuff around here. You can just keep going to doing it until you're, you know, until it's all empty. But then you can go and harvest some more trees and get your bankroll back up. It's such a cool map, such a cool concept. But all this combined is why this one is number 4. Number 3, PGR Slilno. And this is the map. And this map, I'm actually very late to the game on this one. This is a really cool map, and this one really slipped its way under my radar when it first came out. And it's been out for quite some time. You know, so we take a look, and first thing I noticed when I came onto this map is the architecture. There's so much stuff going on. It's got this very kind of cold, like potentially Eastern European kind of styling to it. But it's very much kind of the form over function kind of thing, which me personally, I actually prefer. Like, I prefer things that are going to be long lasting and, you know, solid for years upon years, you know, years to come, rather than something that looks pretty that's going to break really fast. And this just has that kind of appeal to it. Like, this building here is just brick and solid and firm. Like, it's just really, really cool kind of a design to it. Let's go up here to the kind of north here to this little industrial area, and you can see again it's just lots of concrete, lots of, you know, mortar, and just like very, very kind of, you know, run down to an extent. Like I said, this kind of to me has an almost Eastern European vibe, but again, it didn't specify where this was, and I didn't want to guess as to where it could be, but you can see just how everything's just kind of run down, but it's been there for forever, it looks like, kind of thing. You got these concrete buildings just flat and just meant for a purpose. That is it. You know, you come up here to the north a little ways towards the map edge, and again you get this kind of you know, small houses, but even the houses are very much square bricks and not much going on with them. You got these kind of trails that lead off, and just this cool kind of swampy kind of texture to the roads here too. You got some like really muddy kind of churned up dirt kind of thing mixed in with some grass. Like, it's a really cool, and it's very rough. Like, you drive down this with a vehicle and you're just getting like so much articulation in your axles and whatnot that it's actually kind of really cool to see. But I mean, the ruts and the roads and all this stuff, just to come out here to see, you know what's out here, and there's not much out here other than trees and harvestable trees, and at that. But you've got a nice little train network here. Let's go out to the west side over here, if I can click on anything. There we go. And again, you got more of the same, that very kind of cold brick looking buildings and stuff. The outskirts of the map I don't necessarily care for, that kind of tree line that's kind of in there. it just really kind of looks unnatural once you approach that border. So that's the only kind of downside I can say about it. But you've got cool little features that just make up for it, like all throughout the thing, like something like that. Just a little person just fishing out in the middle of nowhere. That's kind of cool. That's just things like that. Those little details are so much fun when you discover them and when you see them, that it just makes it really worth it. Let's go down here to the southern portion. I'm kind of circling around the main farm because I want to show off just a few of the concepts around here. So again, now this is kind of looks a bit more modern, a bit more built up. You can see that it's still got that kind of same stone kind of cold look and feel to it, but this one kind of looks a little bit more modern, a little bit newer, a little bit nicer. It's built in with the kind of water feature. You got another person fishing there in the corner. Um, it's just a very nice map. And like I said, when this first came out, completely under my radar. This big kind of facility here, so it looks like kind of the stuff in the south is kind of newer, less worn out, but then stuff in the north is like really old, really run down, kind of, kind of different tales to tell. Down here you got the carpentry, and again, all the buildings are unique to the map with the exception of one. There's one building that's kind of recycled, but you can see like this is a sawmill and carpentry area kind of thing, and it's unique. Like I've not seen this on any other map. I could be wrong about that, but it's just not something I'm familiar with. Let's come over here, and you got the biogas plant. Now, yeah, biogas plant is biogas plant, kind of thing. But again, you got all the buildings that's surrounding it, all the kind of village with the church bells ringing. Like, that's really cool. But then, made our way all the way around to the starting farm and the starting farmhouse. And here it is. PGR Slow No. Like, very cool. And just, like, this farm is massive. Tons and tons of storage. So much going on here. So let's open up some of these. Look at that. Nice cavernous, tons of storage around here. Big building. Like, it almost looks like, and again, I could be wrong about this, but it almost looks like maybe an old cooperative. Like, maybe an old abandoned cooperative. I don't know. That's kind of the vibe because of how large it is. But we keep looking around. Come over here. Got some more storage here. We can open this up. You got a repair trigger just tucked away in here. Like, everything is unique to this farm, like to this map. Again, with the only exception of one building that I can think off the top of my head, which is right there. It's the biomass heating plant. That's the same biomass heating plant as we see on most every other map. But you got pig barn right here, 270 pigs. You open it up and look at that. It's just all indoor, kind of custom made. Like, I absolutely love it when a map maker will go out of their way to either use non like stock items like this, or when they go and use like customly created items for their maps. It just adds that next level of immersion. This is your cow barn, and this is a really cool area. I like this a lot. 490 cows, but check it out. You've got this huge kind of internal facility where you can feed them right here. Open the door, come around to this side over here. Got this door here where you can have your milk. And again, continuing through, right over here, you got your manure heap, like all built in. Like, that's a cool feature, and I absolutely adore that when it's not just an external manure heap, like it's a manure that's inside the building. That's a really cool feature in my opinion. You got the sheep pasture right over here. Or no, this is another cow barn. That's right. But this one does have the external manure heap right here. So another 100 cows can go into this barn. Then we come over here. This one I think is the sheep. Yeah, sheep barn large. Yep. I think the input for sheep is over here. Yeah, here it is. Yep, 100 sheep. Oh, look at that. Nice timing for the plane to go flying over. That's cool. But then on this side of the farm, just on the other side of this wall, there's this area here where you can rent the train, and you have tools to be able to load directly into the train. Like, come over here and I'll show you. Oops. There we go. So you can call the train, you'll rent the train, whatnot. You can rent either track, because there's 2 tracks here. So you have 2 separate trains. One will go one way and the other will go another. But you don't have like an actual dedicated silo system like you do on some trains. You actually have to load into it using this equipment right here, which is really cool. It's just a different way of doing things, and you got this whole large loading area to do it with. So just one of those things that's just a cool little feature. It's, you know, I haven't seen that on any other map that's supposed to be like the standard, but very, very cool. Again, that kind of old like concrete look that's just, you know, function over form. You know, we have a job to do and this is what's going to do it kind of thing. But that is why this one is number 3. Number 2, the Green Valley. And we have the map, and this one we have a returning contender for the map maker. This is a map by Zero Ito, and you know what, it might be my bias, but again, I really enjoy Zero Ito's maps. They are very, very well created. They're very very high in the downloads, all of them. Like, they're not small maps, but it's because so much detail has been put into the map. So we're here at our starting farm, just off a dirt road. You got actual traffic on a dirt road, which is pretty rare to see. But we come in here, you got some stored equipment right here. It's a very small farm, very small, but you got tons of equipment packed up in here. Over here we have kind of our starting farm and farmhouse. We've got honey being produced. There's a couple of beehives out in the middle of the field, which is really cool. But this building here I think is really cool. So you've got kind of this loft area here. That's your wardrobe trigger right there, your sleep trigger that overlooks the garage. Like, how I think that's so cool. Like, it's just a little area for you to sleep in and get your work done. Come around the side here, you got tons of fertilizer, tons of seed, you know, for you, some liquid herbicide, some fertilizer. But then you come around to this side over here, you got your silo. Like, it's a very tight yard. Like, it's very, very tight. But you'll see, look at this massive field down here. That is huge. And that's all sugar beets. Holy cow, that's gonna, whew, that would be a tough one to do. That would be a long time coming. But look at this field. Look at the shape of it. There's so much going on here. You got trees right in the middle of everything. You got some beehives right out in the middle of it. You got one tucked away there. Like, this is a very unique shaped field, and it just takes a good amount of time to be able to just plod along and do the work. But then over here, like, if we keep going in this direction, it's like the secondary part of the farm. And this part's really cool. Like, you come through the canopy of trees, and here you have your horses. You already have a bunch of them just sitting here waiting for you. You got some horse trailer as well as the truck that's tucked away inside the barn. And then you got pigs all set and ready to go. So that's really cool. But the cool thing about this map, in my opinion, is look at all the wide open space here in the north. Look at all that. That's just ready and waiting for you to just go out there and tame it. Like, take a look at this. We come out here across this big river, and now you just got a little bit of trees and grassland. Like, all this is ready and waiting for you to do stuff with it. It is just so cool. You know, but then the southern portion of the map, that's where you got your fields. That's where you got your sell points for the most part. And over here, like, look at this. So far, not a whole ton of detail, quote unquote. You know, very untypical of a Zero Ito map. Look at this. You have a forage wagon with actual product in it. That's right. You actually have stuff to start out with for that, which I think this is the first map where I've actually noticed that done. Now, it's possible other maps have done it. I just didn't notice it. But let's come over here to the town. Again, you got your carpentry over here. But look at all the detail. Let's pan out real quick. Look at all the detail. You got semi-trucks, tractors, people walking around town. You've got this little garden center right here. You've got just all sorts of stuff just happens. A little itty-bitty tiny town. You know, I wish I knew where this was. Wait. This is a North American map. I didn't know that. This is America. Oh, that's cool. I did not realize that until just now. See, if that picture was in the mod hub, I would have categorized this in the North America map. But all in all, like, look at this. You got this house under construction right here. Like, look at this. Like, that's really cool. Got a whole construction scene set up right over here. Little itty-bitty field that's right behind it. Cool little working windmill. Let's go over in this direction now. Like, this is really cool. You got this little hay silo right here. Let's go. Let's see. You know what? Let's take a look at some of the fields. So you can see just the fields. They're relatively squared off for the most part. You do get some roundness in some weird shapes in others. But down here, look at this rock quarry. This big quarry is ready and waiting for you to use it. And you do have a production point here for lime that you can purchase. You do have lime that you can pick up right there as well. So you can come down here, buy this land, and start picking up stones and just going to town. You know, making lime or producing it, doing whatever you want to do with that. Again, with Zero Ito's maps, they tend to use these bridges that I really, really like. I'm a little too far away from any of them to show like up front, but let's go ahead and just get to one right over here. You can see it's just a little cobbled together bridge, but it's got these loose boards on it, so when you're traveling down this bridge, you'll see boards just come ripping up from the middle of the bridge, and it's a little off-putting sometimes to see that, but it's still really cool. You come up here and you got the vehicle shop. You got the shop right there. Oops, and I'm stuck. The only negative thing I can say about any Zero Ito map is, and if I could ever like have a discussion with them just to figure this out so I knew that I was safe, my channel would be safe, I would love to find out the music that plays inside the shops, whether it is like actual like music that is not going to trigger a copyright strike or anything like that. I don't know. And I would just love to know, love to find out for certain from the map maker themselves that they didn't use any copywritten music or anything like that. I've never stuck around long enough to be able to actually hear a song and see what it is. Now I have heard, actually that's not true. I have heard like the starting intro, like to the game song, you know, the dun 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 dun, that song kind of thing when you first fire up the game. But again, look at all the details here. You got all these tractors in the workshop bay here. You've got this whole loading zone right here. You can pull in a big old semi-truck, back it up, and then you can use the forklift, this Manitou right over here, to be able to load all your products onto it. That's really cool. Again, you've got this giant field over here. Look how big this is. Like, I played this one on my own, like not being recorded before I did YouTube. And this map had, I think, wheat in it, and it took forever. Like, this is a massive field. Let's continue going down the road. Again, Zero Ito's gas stations. Look at that. Look at the line. Like, that's really cool. Just, I love how the queue just gets stacked up in there, and just, hey, you know, we got a bunch of people wanting to get gas. You got a diner built into the back of the gas station kind of thing. the layout of the signage here is all backwards, because normally this Grayson's is right here on the front side of the building. This one's been turned around to face a road, which is really cool. I just noticed that detail. You got this kind of industrial park right here for a sell point, and look at all this stuff that's happening here. You got, you know, grain going in, you got tractors, you got trailers, you got harvesters, you got the whole 9 yards. Again, you got more going on over here. You know, this is like your Lizard Industrial Center, where you can bring your goods and dump them off right here at the loading bay. Like, that's a cool concept. I really like that. You got this huge industrial center where the cereal factory is. It's kind of built into another building, so it's like, again, not just bare basic. You got these whirling fans on top of the buildings. Like, unless you're in third person view like I am here, you'd never even know that was there. You'd never see it. You know, you come over here, you get more industrial area, more buildings. The oil mill, like, is all built up, ready to go. You got your biomass heating plant right here. Let's go to the area. Where is it? Right here, is it? Yes, the sawmill. Check this out. This is all just kind of tucked away in here, and again, it's just, it looks like it's lived in. It looks like it's busy, that there's things going on here. It's not just kind of plopped there you go and there it is kind of thing. It's just a really cool concept. And the last thing I want to show, and just, that's the other thing too about Zero Ito, is that you take a really good amount of time on taking those sound effects and really utilizing them to develop the depthness of the game. So let's come over here. Yeah, let's come over here. So we're here at the animal dealer, and the first thing I want to show is back down the driveway. So coming down the driveway here, check this out. All the way down here, that's the driveway with this very large cow right here as kind of a statue. But the cool thing is, and hey, warning, you know, this map's been out a while, but if you didn't know this before, you're going to know it right now. That's a collectible. That's one of the collectibles that's available on this map. It's just so cool. So me personally, I want to leave it there just because it just really adds that little layer of decoration, but at the same time, I want the money kind of thing. So it's such a cool concept. But then you come over here, you got the animated animals, and you got all sorts. You got pigs, you got sheep. If I can jump, you got chickens back in the background of the pigs. You got cows. You also have a buy point for your manure. And listen to the sounds. You hear the bugs? You hear the flies? The different sounds for the cows there, that typical, you don't typically hear those. You've got this little mixer right over here. It's a buy point for various products. You can see, I'm going to stay away from it because it's really loud, but you can get things like silage and I think pig food, TMR, things like that. Sell point for your hay. And coming over here, like, again, it looks alive. You got people walking around. You got the animals running around in their pens. Like, it makes the market come alive. I absolutely love it. Just so much. But again, if we come out here now, go down the driveway and go beyond it, like, you've got so much area here. Like, look at all this. This is just grassland. So much stuff you can do in some trees. But then you come down here, and now you get into the forestry part of the game. So if you want to do forestry, you can. If you want to do grass care, you can. If you want to do farming, you can. You don't have to settle with just one thing, and it's as close as you're going to get to a survival map without it being a survival map. This does not qualify as a survival map, in my opinion, but it's pretty darn close because the equipment you got is very small. The farm you have, very small. It's going to take ages and seasons to make your way through to get enough product available to start building yourself up and really kind of adding to what it is that you have. But all that combined leads me to say that this is number 2 on the list. So buckle up for number 1, because if I'm saying this, all this great stuff about number 2, wait until you see number 1. And now we're on to our number 1 for the unspecified continents maps, new lands. And as you can see, this is what it looks like. And just like the last one, just like Green Valley, it's as close as you can get to a survival map without it being a survival map. You do not get a lot of starting equipment, but you do have contracts, you do have like certain things available to you that allow you to be able to go beyond the whole survival mode kind of thing. But this map is probably one of the best maps available for FS22 in my opinion, and the reason for that is that it takes the concept of Farming Simulator 22 and completely changes it up just within the map and its structure and how it's designed and all that. So essentially what you have here is you're a farmer, quote unquote, who has to have a job. And it's almost as if you work for like the county or the local government to be like their maintenance person, going around doing mowing yards, mowing highway grass, doing all this stuff. You can see this is the main highway that runs through the town or throughout the map, and all the highway is lined by grass fields, and you get contracts to be able to perform grass care, cutting the grass, making it into silage, making it into hay, whatever the case may be. And not only that, but then you also have a bunch of productions. Every single person that lives in this town has a production chain associated to them where they produce slurry, aka just dirty water, black water, trash bags, and food waste. And you can use these items here to actually do things down the line. So one of the concepts that was introduced to this game was recycling, to this map I should say, was recycling. Now if I go to a third person view, I can, oh wait a minute, I actually think, yeah, looking right behind me. Right here are some of the recyclables. Anything with these little green recycle emblems on them is something that you can actually take and use to get some extra cash for. You know, the whole recycling process. So what you do is you pick them up and you take them up to this. This is the, not the debris crusher. Oh, we'll just go to the debris. No, we won't go to the debris. No, we won't go there. Why can't I go anywhere? Oh, it's because, haha, it's because I'm in the wrong screen. You take them to this red bin right here. You click on this and you can actually sell them like you would a vehicle. And it's such a cool little concept. It's just a way to get some little extra spending cash, just a little bit. But then we move into the other things that are available on this map. So like I said, you've got all these productions that are available to you. Nope, those are contracts. These are productions. You got all these that are available to you, and every single person on this in this town has this kind of stuff. And each resident has a different value. So you can see if I scroll up. So each one of these are going to produce a different rate. So at this house, Evelyn Carson's service agreement, she has 5 residents within her home. So she's going to produce X amount of product just slowly and steadily. And then you got to come out and empty it all out. Same thing here, 5 people here, 6 people here. So it's just going to produce at different rates. But then you come down here. Here we go. So we got the supermarket where there's 100 people. So this one produces the fastest out of all of them. And then here you got the restaurant, which is 10. So like I said, it's a concept that has not been in any other map, and this one was brand new when they did it, and just a cool little thing that they added to it. But they also added products to this map that are only available for this map, such as taro. Let me back away just a little bit. Taro is a organic mixture that they use in the greenhouse system that they have on this map. So they use it as a kind of a fertilizer, a natural fertilizer. And you can produce taro right here. So I buy this particular production, the Lizard CR3000. You can see I need either straw, manure, sugar beet cut, silage, grass, wood chips, and food crates, plus vegetable soil. Well, I can get the vegetable soil, if I look at the map, right down here. this little mound right here is where all the vegetable soil, basically, if I understand what vegetable soil is, it's basically compost. It's essentially what it is. It's just called something different. But you basically take your spoiled goods and whatnot, throw it into a pile, let it, you know, sit and rot and go bad, and eventually you can use it as like a natural fertilizer. But this, you add all that stuff in, and then you get taro. And you take the taro over to this area over here, which is like the garden center. And you can see each one of the garden centers is labeled. So you have up to 5 little garden centers here. You produce the products out to here. You got more garden centers. So all these take that taro and can produce various things. So you've got, let's buy one of these. Open this one up. We'll purchase number 3. Tomatoes, lettuce, strawberries, red cabbage, and flowers. So different products there. Over here you have the plant center, which you can produce things like bonsai trees and cypress trees and one other one I cannot remember off, the eucalyptus, I think. And then over here you got even more. You can buy the shrubs where you can have bamboo, aloe vera, and you can see the recipe here. Water, fertilizer, plus taro gives you the products there. So it's just, again, those kind of production chains that feed other production chains that feed other production chains. It's very, very cool. If we come over to here, we have things like the cereal factory, the sugar mill. We pan out here, we can see them. The cereal factory, the sugar mill, and the oil mill. You got this little kind of loading depot right here for your train. The train does just circle around the map, you know, just kind of goes around and around and around. Doesn't actually go any particular place. Let's see, you've got the transport company. That's really cool over here. So this is the transport company. Let's open the gate and come out here. So you can see this is kind of if I understand right, this is kind of the heart and soul of the whole recycling operation, plus the kind of contracts that you have available to you. So not only do you have the contracts for grass work, but you have the service agreements for the customers to be able to empty out their slurry, empty out their food waste and garbage. And I think this is supposed to be where it all kind of takes place and is supposed to be. But you have this area here, and look at all this. You got all these sell points for various products. So you got like your flowers and just all this stuff. And it's all indicated what's bought here based on what's on the racking. So you got your oils here, you got your bread, or no, that's your flour. You've got your cereals here, cakes here, so on and so forth, just all there. And you got a little bit of extra spacing over here to where you can just do stuff with it. It's such a cool little concept. This area over here, you got other production chains that are unique to this map, like right here, the production of firewood. If you come over, where is the trigger? There it is, right back here. You can buy that for 40,000, and now you take wood and make it into firewood. That's it. It's just one more thing that you can do with wood. You can also bring it to the sawmill and do everything that we're used to doing with a sawmill. And see if we come over here. You know, $40,000. Oh, this is the carpentry. I'm sorry. I think they call the carpentry and sawmill the same exact thing. Let's see. Do I have 40? I don't. Yeah, so this is where you produce planks. So it's called the carpentry, but it's the sawmill. Same thing over here. You do have the carpentry right on this side here. Again, 40,000. Let's. And you can see here, this is where you produce your furniture. There's several sawmills and several carpentries strewn about the map here. Here's another carpentry, aka sawmill. Here's another one. I think this one's the actual carpentry, and this one's a sawmill. But here, I'll show you one of the residents' homes, and it will actually kind of illustrate how those kind of service agreements work. So right here is where you would back up to load in the slurry. Right here is where you have the output for your, I believe this is your food crates, and this is for your garbage is back here. So it's just every single house throughout the map has these areas where you can just load the items in and just take them and use them for various bits around the map. And it's just such a cool little concept. Now let's go ahead and go over to the starting farm, which is right here. It's not a lot. Really, it's not. It's a small field right here and a couple of pieces of equipment. That is it. You do not get a whole lot to start out with. That's why I said this is as close as survival map as you can get without it being a survival map. It is just a cool little concept. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over in this direction. I'm going to show you the kind of, they call it vegetable soil. Again, I think it's more of a, oh, it's over here, compost. You can see it's just all piled up here, so you got to purchase the land to be able to have access to it, or you can use the forage. I think you can use the forage wagon or forage pickup tool to be able to use it without buying the land. So if you want to kind of have that as your workaround, you can do that. But all in all, it's just a lovely landscape. It's really cool. It's got the balloon kind of floating around over top. You know, you got tons of trees, tons of woodwork that you can do, good amount of forest, and like I was saying before, the recycling, you do have these piles of trash just laying around in random spots. You can come and collect them and utilize them. Again, you can spend, or you can make money by doing this. It's not going to be great money. It might be $1,000 per pile, if that, but it's something that you can do. It's kind of a cool concept. And everything is here just to be able to just go around and have fun. Like this map is just a really cool concept of what can be done, and if you think outside the box, that it will allow you to do something like this. But that altogether is why this one is ahead of the pack and in the #1 slot. And that is it. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please show me by liking, sharing, subscribing, following, commenting, doing all the things the algorithms enjoy you doing, that shows you're engaged with this channel and enjoying the content. And that being said, I hope you have a fantastic day. Take care.